मिनट 7 वाजता बोलला ना तो 7 वाजता बोलला ना तो कधी
थोड़ा just
very good afternoon to all of you. Today we will discuss about the economics for managers. The subject code is MBA-103.
103.
So today we will discuss about the
manager
new concepts from economics, that is
electronics economics
economics for managers. Today we will discuss about the economics for managers, MBA-103. Okay. So in our previous lectures we will discuss number of concepts in offline mode, and now this is the first lecture that I am going to deliver the lecture on new concept through the online mode. Till we will discuss about the first one unit, that is managerial economics, introduction about managerial economics. Then onwards we will discuss about the market equilibrium. Market equilibrium. In this context, we will discuss that the demand and supply force have plays a very crucial role in the market equilibrium, and how we get the market equilibrium. That point also we have covered in the second one unit. Then onwards we will discuss in the third unit, that is demand theory. In that case, in the demand theory, we will discuss the assumptions, the law of demand, then onwards the schedule, that is table, and onwards we will discuss the graph and the limitations. So these all things we were covered in the third unit, that is demand theory. And now we will discuss about the supply analysis. Okay. The second one unit, that is market equilibrium, is associated with the demand and supply. Therefore, the university has laid down the third and fourth one chapter, that is demand and supply analysis. Okay. So therefore, now we will discuss the fourth one unit, that is supply analysis. Is it? But prior that, I think from the third chapter, there are few concepts are were remaining. Is it? Yes. That is cardinal utility. From the third unit, we will discuss the cardinal utility approach and ordinal utility approach. Okay. The cardinal utility approach and ordinal utility approach is associated with the demand theory. So the first concept, that is cardinal and ordinal utility approach. Cardinal and ordinal. So first of all, what is meant by cardinal and ordinal approach? Prior that, I want to explain and I want to clarify that in the previous lecture we will discuss the concept, that is utility. The concept utility. Utility, it is a psychological phenomenon basically. Basically, it is a psychological phenomenon. But there are some experts, economists, they will suggest that the utility can be measured the utility can be measured in the numerical forms. We cannot measure the psychological phenomenon in the form of numerical identities like intelligence, is it? Then kindness, all things, anger, and so on. But they were suggested the unit for the measurement of utility, that is utils. Okay, what is the unit for the measurement of utility? Utils.
Net बनतील. माया याच्यावर उलट नाही. कितीच
All the participants are requested to mute yourself, so others will not be get disturbed. So the ordinal utility and cardinal utility, these both approaches have a very significant difference. So first one we will discuss about the cardinal utility approach. According to the cardinal utility approach, the utility can be measured in the numerical form. Okay. The cardinal utility approach suggests that the utility can be measured in the numerical form. Like that pen have 10 utility, that duster have 5 utility, or that mouse have 50 utility, because that mouse, that pen, that duster fulfills the need of the consumer. All kind of things or all kind of goods fulfill the wants or the needs of the consumer, and the capacity of fulfilling the needs of the consumer called utility, and that utility can be measured in the form of numerical identities. So that is the cardinal approach that suggests that the utility can be measured in the number form, in the numerical forms. Okay. So according to the cardinal utility, U stands for utility. Then they suggest that the utility depends upon the capacity of fulfilling of the different kinds of goods. Okay, the first one goods gives us 5 utility, second one goods gives us 10 utility, third one goods gives us 15 utility. So in this way we can summarize all kind of utilities, and then we get the total utility from the all goods. Okay, like 5, 10, 15, and so on. When we get the summation of these of all kind of figures, then we get the total utility. So this is the cardinal approach. This is just an approach. Okay, they suggest that the utility can be measured. Okay, but on the other hand, and basically, we cannot measure the utility because I have already told you that it is a psychological phenomenon. Is it? So utils, that unit also a hypothetical existence. The utility is also a hypothetical existence. So therefore, after the lots of criticism on the cardinal utility approach, the number of economists and experts were devised next to an approach, that is ordinal utility approach. Okay. So second one thing is ordinal utility approach. According to the ordinal utility approach, the utility cannot be measured, and that is correct. The utility cannot be measured. The consumer can rank the various baskets of goods according to their satisfaction. The consumer can just rank the various baskets of goods according to their need or satisfaction. For example, if anyone wants to travel from one place to another place, then what will be the first priority? What will be the first priority? What will be the first priority? To gather the all things in the same place. Is it? That's the first one priority. Second priority, to decide the way of vehicle or the route. Is it? Then third one priority, to decide the vehicle through that the person will travel. Fourth one priority, stay, hospitality and so on. Fifth one priority, in this way, first, second, third, fourth, that is rank. This is the rank. The consumer can rank the various baskets of goods, but the consumer cannot measure the utility. Are you getting it? The consumer can just rank the goods and services. Like that, I want to deliver a lecture nowadays. So the first one necessity is lies in the board and in the pen. The first priority is board and pen. Second one priority is, that is display. It is, those are attending that lecture online mode. So second one priority is that Zoom platform and technical platform and so on. Third one priority will be duster and so that kind of tables and things. So in this way, we can rank the goods in the according to the satisfaction or according to the need of consumer. That is ordinal approach. We can order the things according to the need of the customer. So therefore, it is called as a ordinal approach. Are you getting it? The difference between cardinal and ordinal approach. Cardinal approach lies with, on the assumption that the utility can be measured, and ordinal approach depends upon the utility or the goods can be ranked. It cannot be, the utility cannot be measured. So this is the clear-cut distinction distinguished between the cardinal and ordinal approach. So in the same ordinal approach, from the ordinal approach, we are required to discuss about the indifference curve. It is also called as a IC curve. Okay. In the context of ordinal approach, we are needed to discuss about the indifference curve. That is IC curve. The word indifference itself suggests that the consumer cannot differentiate the number of baskets of goods, which means the different kind of goods or different kind of baskets of goods gives equal satisfaction to the consumer. If the consumer have number of baskets of goods, number of groups of goods, but the consumer cannot differentiate between themselves because they give the equal satisfaction. For example, if we consider the number of combinations or the baskets of goods, for example, first one combination is A, B, C, and D. Okay. The first one commodity is X, and second one commodity is Y. Okay. So these are the combinations A, B, C, D, and these are the goods X and Y. So in case of X, if in the first one basket the number of X are 7 and the number of goods Y are only 1. Okay. In the second one basket, the X commodity are 4 and Y commodities are 2. Okay. In the third one basket, if the X commodities are 2 and Y commodities are 3, and fourth one basket constitutes X commodity 1 and Y commodity 4. So in this way, if the consumer have the different kind of baskets of combinations of goods, that example suggests that each basket gives the equal satisfaction to the consumer. If, for example, if the fifth one basket have number of X commodities are 10 and number of Y commodities are 20. Which basket will be chosen by the consumer? If we suggest them to select the basket from A, B, C, D, E, which basket or the combination will be chosen by the consumer? समझते क्या समझे? हे कॉम्बिनेशन आहे, ठीक आहे. हे कॉम्बिनेशन मध्ये म्हणजे काय? ए कॉम्बिनेशन मध्ये एक 7 वस्तू आहे, बास्केट आहे. समजा एक आपण मँगो आणि बनाना म्हणूया किंवा पेरू म्हणूया. 7 आंबे आहेत आणि 7 एक पेरू आहे, ठीक आहे, बास्केट मध्ये. आणि दुसरं जे कॉम्बिनेशन आहे त्याच्यामध्ये 4 आंबे आहेत आणि 2 पेरू आहेत. इथे 2 आंबे आणि 3 पेरू आहेत. अशी बास्केट आहे समजा. अशा वेगवेगळ्या बास्केट ठेवलेल्या आहेत, ठीक आहे. आणि ही पण बास्केट आहे. ही पण बास्केट आहे. हिच्या एका बास्केट मध्ये 10 आंबे आहेत आणि 20 पेरू आहेत. अशी एक बास्केट आहे. कोणती सिलेक्ट करेल कंझ्युमर? E. Why? Because it gives that is we are almost we are very well that number of goods are more than other baskets, but the basic thing is that each combination of goods gives more satisfaction. What is the basic condition in case of indifference curve? If the basket or the combinations of goods gives equal satisfaction. If we neglect that combinations of goods, then tell me which combination of goods gives more satisfaction. It depends and it varies. It varies. Maybe if any person likes mango, then the A group, the combination will give more satisfaction. If the person likes guana, then the D combination will give more satisfaction. But the consumer, in general way, the consumer cannot differentiate. Is it? The consumer cannot differentiate in the different kind of combination of goods, which means the consumer have equal satisfaction from the number of combinations of goods. When it happens, then it is called as a indifference. The consumer cannot differentiate between the number of combinations. Namaste. The consumer cannot differentiate these number of combinations. So, if we want to draw the curve, the first we have discussed about the indifference, the meaning of indifference word. Now we will discuss about the curve. Okay, if we measure the X commodity on OX axis and Y commodity on Y axis, okay, so then we will get the downward slope curve, which suggests that if, for example, if we measure the X commodities 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, then onwards on Y axis 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So, for example, in case of A combination, X commodities are 7, okay, and Y commodities are only 1. So therefore, that point we have selected. Is it? In case of B combinations, X commodities are 4 and Y commodities are 2. Therefore, that point we have. Is it? So in case of third combination, X commodities are 2 and Y commodities are 3. So therefore we get that point. So while we intersect that points, then we get the IC curve, that is downward slope. That is shows that downward slope. And why it is have a downward slope? Because of the marginal rate of substitution. That point, that is the next one point, that is marginal rate of substitution. On the next page, that is on the 51 number, page number 51. The first two lines on the page number 51, the first two lines tells us the meaning of marginal rate of substitution. Marginal rate of substitution, which means, for example, the second one lines tells us that the maximum amount of goods, that a consumer is willing to give up, maximum amount of goods a consumer is willing to give up in order to obtain one additional unit of another goods. The consumer is ready to give up maximum of goods in order to obtain one additional another goods. It is called marginal rate of substitution. In our example, if a person choose the first combination, that is which have 7x and 1y. If consumer wants to select D option or B option, then he ready to sacrifice 3x for one more y. A consumer ready to sacrifice or ready to give up 3x for one y. So therefore he selected the second one combination. Again, if he wants to select the third one combination, that is C, then C says that there will be 2x and 3y. Again, the consumer is ready to sacrifice only 2x for one more y or one additional y. Here, the consumer is ready to sacrifice 3x for one more y or one additional y. Again, in the second one basket, the consumer is ready to sacrifice or give up 2x for one more y or additional y. Is it? Again, in the third one combination, the consumer is ready to sacrifice or give up only 1x and for one more additional y. So in this way, for one additional commodity, the consumer is ready to give up the one commodity or maximum commodities, and therefore it shows the downward slope. Here, look at the board. The marginal rate of substitution getting decreased. 3, 2, 1, and 0. Agree? The marginal rate of substitution. Marginal rate of substitution means for one more additional goods, the consumer ready to substitute their goods. So it is decreasing. समजते? म्हणजे काय, याच्याजवळ x जी कमोडिटी आहे ती कमी होत जाते. जास्तीच्या एका ऍडिशनल y साठी x कमोडिटी कमी होत जाते. जशी ती कमी होत जाते म्हणजे आपल्या जवळची कमी होत गेली की ती आपण थोडी कमी द्यायला सुरुवात करतो. जास्त असतील तर आपण त्याचे जास्त देतो. थोडे कमी होतात म्हणून अजून थोडे कमी द्यायला सुरुवात करतो. मग अजून एका y साठी आणि आणखी अजून कमी झाले की आणखी कमी करतो आणखी एका y साठी. दुसऱ्या वस्तूसाठी. म्हणजे that is marginal rate of substitution. That marginal rate of substitution continuously decreased. Therefore, the IC curve gets negative slope, that is from left to right, downward slope. So we can measure these things in this way. For this area, we will consider as a y. and this area we will consider as a X. Is it? That area get decreased, but that area, horizontal area gets increased. Is it? So therefore, the marginal rate of substitution is so that it always decreases. Why? Because the consumer wants to get equal satisfaction. The consumer wants to get the equal satisfaction. So this is an indifference curve. The consumer cannot differentiate the number of combinations of goods. So it is called as a indifference curve. So then onwards, we will discuss about the supply analysis. Okay, the concepts are clear: ordinal, cardinal, and indifference curve, and marginal rate of substitution. Okay, फार डिटेल मध्ये गेला तर तुमचा गोंधळ होईल आणि एवढी डिटेलिंग जायची पण गरज तशी नाहीये. परीक्षेला आपल्याला कन्सेप्ट क्लिअर झाले की आपल्याला एक्सप्लेन पण करता येईल. ठीक आहे, म्हणून मी कन्सेप्ट क्लिअरिफिकेशन केलं आणि त्यावरती जास्त भर दिला की तुमचं सिलेबस कव्हर होईल, म्हणून त्यावरती जास्त भर देतो आहे. ठीक आहे, खूप डिटेलिंग जाण्यापेक्षा इथपर्यंत जरी तुम्ही लक्षात ठेवलं तरी सफिशियंट आहे. ओके, so then onwards, supply analysis. So the next concept is supply analysis. In case of market equilibrium, equilibrium means the balance. The market gets a balance where the demand and supply are equal. The market equilibrium means where the demand and supply of any particular commodity or any kind of service gets equal, then there is a market equilibrium. In the third one chapter, we will discuss about the demand. Now in the fourth one chapter we will discuss about the supply. Okay, the supply analysis basically depends upon the law of supply. The supply analysis basically depends upon law of supply. The law of supply have a very significant impact on the production process in the market. Remember that. Like law of demand also have a very significant impact, but now we are going to discuss about the supply. So therefore, the supply also have a very significant impact on the market conditions. The law of supply tells us the relationship between supply and price. The law of supply suggests us the relationship between supply and price. Right? The law of demand suggests us the relationship between demand and price. The price is a common thing. The price is a factor which makes the market equilibrium. The law of demand suggests the relationship between demand and supply. Demand and price. The law of supply suggests us the relationship between two variables, that is supply and price. So how is this the relationship? According to the law of supply, according to the law of supply. When price increases, then supply also increases. If you are the producer of any kind of commodity, for example, I am the producer of that pen, is it? And I want to supply that pen in a market. When I will supply that pen in a market, when the price increases, if the price for pen increases in a market, then I will supply more and more supply that pen in a market. Is it? Think from the point of view of producer. The onion growers, when they supply, when they do the more supply of onion in the market, when the price for onion increases. Is it? Which means if the price in the market increases, then the supply also increases. On the other hand, or contrary, if the price for any kind of commodity, for example, that pen, decreases by 50% or 20% or 100%, what will happen? The supply will decrease. Is it? The price for onion in a market decreases, then what happens? The supply of onion get decreased. Is it? Why? Because the price are decreased. Which means when the price decreases, then supply also decreases. The law of supply suggests that ceteris paribus means when other things remain same, if the price increases, then supply also increases. If the price decreases, then supply also decreases. This is the very simple thing about the law of supply, and this is the law of supply. Okay, so we will get that there is a change in a price, and therefore the supply also change in the direction of change in the price. So there is a equal relationship between price and supply. Why there is an equal relationship between? Because if the price increases, then supply also increases. If the price decreases, then supply also decreases. So this is the law of supply, and that called that suggests that there is an equal relationship between price and supply. This is the core concept of supply analysis. Okay, that is core concept. So onwards, we are needed to discuss about the supply elasticity. I think in the previous lecture we will discuss about the elasticity of demand. So in the same way, now we will discuss about the elasticity of supply. The law of supply only suggests the relationship between price and supply, but that the law of supply cannot suggest the accurate change in the price will lead the accurate change in the supply. Is it? So that accuracy and that mathematical expressions can be takes place with the help of elasticity of supply, or the concept of elasticity. The concept elasticity itself suggests that the responsiveness of supply to the change in price. The responsiveness of supply to the change in price. If the price change, then supply also change. It is the law of supply. But how much the price will change will lead how much the supply change in supply. That cannot be explained by the law of supply. It is explained by the elasticity of supply. If the price changed by 20%, then the supply will also change by 20%. If it is happen, then we call them there is a equal elasticity, because the change in price and supply are equal. The change in price are 20%. If, for example, change in price are 20% and change in supply, therefore the supply changed by 20%, then we will get that there is a one elasticity or equal elasticity. On the contrary, if the price of any kind of commodity increases by 50%, but still supply increases by only 5%. Is it? The price changed by 50% or increases by 50%, but the supply changed only 5%, then it is called as a inelastic supply, because the supply not responds to the change in price accordingly. And vice versa, if the price changed only 5%, but still the supply changed by 50%, it may be happen in case of different kind of goods like luxurious commodities. If the price slightly change, if the price slightly increases only 5%, for example, then what happens? The supply increases by 50%. Then it is called as a more elastic supply, because it gives more response to the change in price. So in this way, from the same law of supply, we will get the three types of elasticity of supply. Okay. लक्ष देते काय सांगतो ते डोक्यावर जाते का नाही फ्रँकली सांगतात जात असेल तर मागच्या वेळी तुम्ही नव्हता ना समजते मी पुस्तकात बघून पण मला जी माहिती ते सांगतो ठीक आहे so then now we will discuss about the elasticity of supply. Elasticity of supply have a specific equation. Through that, we can measure the elasticity of supply of any kind of any commodity. The percentage change in this supply divided by percentage change in the price. This is the equation. मी शॉर्टकट मध्ये लिहिले पण मी म्हणतोय ते शब्द आहे percentage change delta, percentage change in supply divided by percentage change in the price. For example, if the price changed by 10% and therefore the supply changed by 50%. Change means it may be increase or decrease. Both way. The price changed by 10%, therefore the supply changed by 50%. Then we get the elasticity of supply is 5, which is more than 1. Which is more than 1. Vice versa, if the price for any kind of commodity changed by 50%, but still the supply changed by only 10%, then how much? What will be the value? 0.2, which is less than 1, which means the elasticity is less than 1 in that case. In that case, the elasticity of supply will be less than 1. If the price changed by 10%, but still the supply also changed by only 10% in case of any kind of commodity, then what will be the value? 1. In that case, the elasticity of supply is 1. Okay. So in this way, we can measure the elasticity of supply of any kind of commodity. This is the basic equation. That equation says that percentage change in supply divided by percentage change in price. Page number 51, the fourth one line. 57. The page number 57. Fourth one line, PES. Are you getting it? The equation, percentage change in quantity supplied divided by percentage change in prices. Okay. Page number 51. Oh, sorry, 57. And onwards, they have does it mean? How we have seen elasticity of supply, elasticity of demand. Only what common is elasticity of price. So does it that mean we can form the correlation between supply and demand through elasticity? Yeah, it is possible. If we want to get the relationship between demand and supply, then we are required to use the price variable. Okay, so then onwards we will get the relationship between demand and supply. Okay, which forces have a major significance and which is a very big significance that can be measured by getting the relationship between demand and supply with the help of price. Okay. In your book, they have shows us some graphs. The first one graph, which shows that here, that graph, the first one graph shows that there is a perfectly inelastic supply. Perfectly inelastic supply means here there is a price and here the quantity supplied. Okay, the price changed infinite level, but still the supply remains same. The supply remains same. The price changed at infinite level, but still the supply remains same. Then it is called as a inelastic supply. Supply not respond to the change in price. Then in that case, the curve remains parallel to the OY axis. The curve remains parallel to the OY axis. So then tell me, if it is shows that, then what is the meaning of that curve? We have measured the price on OY axis and quantity supplied on OX axis. So what is the meaning? Price remains same. The quantity of supply increases. In case of price remains same, but still due to other things, the quantity supplied are increased at infinite level. Okay, so it is called as a infinite elasticity of supply. Infinite elasticity because here the price remains same. Price remains same means zero change. Are you getting it? There is a zero change. Okay, but supply change infinite level. For example, if we consider due to other things means due to the natural calamities or war or any kind of things, the change in government policy and so on, the supply changed by 50%. Then what will be the value of that equation? Infinite. Is it? If the denominator is zero, then we cannot measure the value of that fraction. Is it? So it is a infinite elasticity of supply. Okay. Then again onwards. If the supply curve is more vertical to the OY axis, if the supply curve is more vertical to the OY axis, then what do you mean by that? Vertical. Small change in quantity is causing high change in price. High change in price. If we select these 2 points, for example, E and E1, okay, at E point the price is OP and at E point the supply is OS. Is it? The price increased from OP to OP1, but still the supply increased only OS to OS1. The change in price is more than change in supply, or the change in supply are less than change in price. Are you getting it? The difference between that area. It is called as a less elastic supply. It is called as a less elastic. It gives a response a very at less manner to the change in price. On the contrary, if the supply curve is very horizontal to the OX axis, what happens? If we consider these 2 points again, then OP, that is, if the price is OP, then the supply will be OS. If the price increase by OP1, there is a very little change or very less change in the price. Therefore, the supply will decrease from OS to OS1. The change in price are less than change in supply. Okay. So it is called as a more elastic supply because the supply gives more response to a very little change in the price. Supply gives more response to a very little change in the price. So therefore, it is called as a more elastic supply. Okay. Is there any doubt about these things? We have discussed the zero inelastic, that is zero elastic supply, infinite elasticity of supply, then less elasticity of supply, that is inelastic supply, and fourth one, more elasticity of supply, that is elasticity of supply. So onwards, the changes in the supply curve. The next thing is changes in supply curve. And then onwards, we will discuss about the shift in supply curve. The two things are very important in case of supply curve: changes and shift. Changes are happened in case of same supply curve, and shift means the supply curve shifted towards the left or right side. Okay, these two things we will discuss now. So the first one thing, changes in the supply curve. Changes in supply curve means when price increases, then supply also increases. When price decreases, then supply also decreases. In this way, we can elaborate the change in supply. On y axis, we have measured the price, and OX axis we have measured the quantity supplied. The first one thing that when price increases, then supply also increases. Second thing is that when price decreases, then supply also decreases. It is called as a change in supply curve. Okay, are you getting it? Second thing is shift in supply curve. The second thing is shift in supply curve. Means, for example, our original supply curve is OS. The shift in supply curve takes place due to the other things. The shift in supply curve not takes place due to the price. Are you? The supply curve shifted towards left or right side because of the other things. while price remains same. When price remains same, but due to the other things, supply increases or decreases. Due to the other things means if there is a natural calamities, if there is a war, if there is a drastic change in the government policy, or if there is a fundamental or structural change in the economic policies, then the supply gets changed. Then in that case, the supply curve moves towards the left or right side. If due to the natural calamities, the agricultural production decreased. For example, if due to the natural calamities, the agricultural production get decreased, then the supply curve shifts towards the left side. Are you getting it? The supply curve shifts towards the left side. Vice versa. If there is a very good monsoon, so therefore the agricultural production increases, the supply also increases in the market. Then in that case, the supply curve shifts towards the right side. Towards the right side. Are you getting it? The supply curve shifts towards the left side so that there is a decrease in the supply, or the supply reduced due to the other things. And if the supply curve shifts towards the right side, then it shows that the supply is increases due to the other things. Are you getting it? The price remains same, but due to the other things, the supply curve shifts towards the left or right side. So therefore, it is called as a shift in the curve or shift in the supply curve. So there are a number of factors which are causing to the shifting supply curve. From the page number 60, there are a number of factors which are mainly responsible for the change in the supply curve. The first one thing, in a very nutshell manner, we will discuss the first one by one. The first one thing, that is production technology. Production technology, primitive and advanced technology. For example, primitive and advanced technology. In which technology the supply will increase in a very short period? In advanced technology. Is it? If any country, if any firm, if any industry adopted a very primitive technology, then what will happen? The supply cannot be changed within a short period. But if any country, if any firm, if any industry adopted the high-tech technology, then what will happen? That particular industry or firm can increase their supply within a short period. Is it? For getting a benefit from the market fluctuation, the industry can explain that kind of decision with the help of production technology, which means the production technology first thing is mainly responsible for shifting the supply from left to right side. Okay. Second one thing is cost of factors of production. Second thing, from the page number 60, the cost of factors of production. Which are the factors of production? Or what are the factors of production? Or how many factors of production? In economics, there are 4 factors of production: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. The first one, land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. Whenever anyone wants to produce anything, then the producer requires these 4 factors of production. And these 4 factors of production have a very specific reward. Like land have their reward in the form of rent. Labor have their reward in the form of wages. Capital have their reward in the form of interest. And entrepreneurship have their reward in the form of profit. Again, land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurs have their reward in the form of rent, wages, interest, and profit. These are the rewards, but these are the expenses of the producer. Whenever any producer employs the factors of production in the production process, then he has to bear some expenses. He has to make a payment to the factors of production. Is it? Without making a payment to the factors of production cannot be employed themselves in the production process. समजते काय म्हणतात? एखादा मजूर आहे, तो मजुरी घेतल्याशिवाय उत्पादन प्रक्रियेमध्ये येईल का? येणारच नाही. Capital employed होणारच नाही. So in this way, all factors of production have their reward, or the producer has to bear some expenses for making a payment to the factors of production. So it is called as the cost of factors of production. Whenever any producer pays a salary to any employee, then that salary becomes the cost of production. Is it? Whenever any producer pays a rate of interest on a capital, then it becomes the cost of production. Is it? If the cost of production increases, then supply gets decreases. If the cost of factors of production increases, then supply decreases. And the contrary, if the cost of factors of production decreases, then supply increases. So therefore, they have narrated that the second one thing which influences the shift in supply curve, that is cost of factors of production. Okay. There are 4 factors of production: land, L1 means labor, capital, and entrepreneur. Okay, land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. Land gets their reward in the form of rent. Labor gets their reward in the form of wages. Capital gets their reward in the form of interest, and entrepreneur have their reward in the form of profit. Is it? Entrepreneur employs their ideas, concepts in the production process, therefore he gets the profit. Is it? समझते हैं? So in this way, these are the 4 factors of production and cost of factors of production. Then number of firms in the market. This is the third one thing which have a very significant impact on the shift in supply curve. If the number of firms increases, obviously supply also increases. If due to the cutthroat competition, the number of firms decreases, then supply also decreases. Is it? So number of firms also decides the supply of any kind of commodity in the market. Okay. So in this way, there are a number of things: government policies, expectations of the consumers, or the price of related commodities, and so on. Number of things or factors which have a significant impact on the supply curve. Okay. So this is the supply analysis, and we have discussed about the supply analysis and so on. Okay. The key terms we have discussed: the price elasticity of supply. So in that case, we have discussed inelastic, elastic, zero, and infinite elasticity. And then so on onwards, we will discuss about the change in supply curve as well as shift in supply curve. Okay. Is there any doubt about these things? My name is Dr. S.V. Kide. I am assistant professor from KTHM College, Nasik. ठीक है, थांबायचं. डाउट आहे काही? सप्लाय अनालिसिस वगैरे काही? ठीक आहे, थँक्यू.
हॅलो 5 मिनिटाचा ब्रेक आहे